This is Jonathan and Janie here. We are in Kosice, Slovakia, visiting some friends that I have known for almost 50 years. And they've been in this country for almost 40,
35.
yeah,
Yeah.
35 years.
Hmm.
So it's pretty amazing to be with them. But we just came out of the Ukraine. And so we want to just give an update to those of you who've been praying for us because we were actually overwhelmed with what happened there. But before we get to anything, I want to share why we went to the Ukraine in the first place. And that has to do with someone special. So tell what happened, Janie. That's fun.
Well, we knew that we were going to be working out of Europe for 3 months. Our grandchildren are in Sicily, and we wanted to spend some time being available to be with them. But we wanted to be doing our work out of Europe, and there were a couple of things that we were going to be able to do, and we hadn't heard from one of the persons for 3 weeks. And I was just praying, Lord, show us what you want us to do. What will do you have for us? And um, at that very moment, I had this like enlightenment, this epiphany or something like I thought, oh my goodness, we could go to the Ukraine and visit our friends that are with CoServe. And that just excited me so much, the idea of getting to go to Kiev and enter their world. I love to enter someone's world. And when we heard about what their lives were like there, I had a real
So
curiosity.
you
And
you come to me
yep.
and you
And
say
so I
what?
asked you,
She
hey,
goes, "Hey."
what if we went to the Ukraine? What if we went to Kiev and visited our
And it's
friends?
funny, I would never have thought of it. I would never have thought of asking Janie to do that, but it was her harebrained idea. So I thought, well, let's pray about it. Let's talk to God about it. And as we thought about it, we thought, let's go. Particularly because Marshall Christian, someone he founded Koser, and one of the places that he founded it was at this university in Kiev. And of course, you guys know the war is going on. But there are two girls that, one that particularly that we've known for 15 years. Her name's Valentina, and she's an English teacher there. She helped start servant leadership in that university, the whole department, and now she's an academic dean. She's an amazing
Over the
lady.
faculty. Hmm.
Yeah, the faculty, dean of faculty, and then she also there's another gal named Maria, and both of them are Orthodox Christians. They've been in the Orthodox Church, but CoServe has caused their faith to grow. And something happened a couple of years ago. We were going to our partners conference in Kazakhstan, and as we're flying, we're scheduled to get there a day early so we can make sure that we're there. Things happen, and guess what happened? Something happened. We got our plane from Frankfurt to Istanbul was canceled. Canceled. So we had to go 24 hours later. We go 24 hours later. We get there. We switch planes to fly up to Almaty, Kazakhstan. And while we're on that plane, these two girls from the Ukraine come in, and they had taken a bus from Kiev. If you get your map out, all the way to Istanbul along the shore of the Black Sea. They had to take a ferry across a major river that flows into the. Anyway, they were exhausted, but we were with them. We said, "Hey, hi." We got stuck in the next airport for 12 hours with them, and we took them to breakfast, and we heard their hearts, about what was happening in their city, in their country,
Country.
and just the enormous burden and pain and struggling with anger and lack of forgiveness, all of these things. Beautiful women, and it was just amazing to identify with them. And we prayed when our flight was canceled. We go, God, you have something scheduled for us. We don't know what it is, but we're open to it. And then these girls showed up, and then we had this amazing time. I felt like I finally understood them. I never really had seen their hearts, and I saw them. So when Janie said, let's go, I said, man, we could go and encourage them, and we could just show up and tell them we're coming
Be an
because they would.
encouragement.
And so that's what we did. We sort of trained across Europe. If we got to the border, without any glitch, we got tickets. Sometimes they're sold out, but you couldn't get them early. Got tickets into the Ukraine, a sleeper, and we went all night. Woke up in Kiev and went and found them, and they greeted us, and she showed us around. And the first thing they did is, first of all, it really encouraged both of them. They both met us, but they took us out to dinner that night, and Maria has this little 6-year-old daughter. She's just cute as a button, and she goes, "Mommy, don't they know what's going on here? Why are they here? I'm worried about them." She's worried.
You need to tell them how to be safe.
You need to tell them how to be safe. So anyway, at that dinner, they really told us there was apps on your phone when the city's
They put
being
an app
bombed.
on our phone.
Yeah, they put an app on our phone, and so to tell us when we're going to be bombed and what to do when this happens and that happens. And so our first night, we were all prepared, sort of, and at 2 that morning, well, we were in this restaurant. We went to a restaurant. We said, we're going to treat you to this restaurant. They took us to a Crimean restaurant. It was not in Crimea, but there in town. And then it was amazing food. We come back and found out there had been air sirens that we didn't even hear while we were in the restaurant. And so that was our first warning. And they told us what to do. You know, when you hear the air sirens, get away from any windows, get back into the building, and then go downstairs and get to the bottom floor. Well, the Airbnb we had was on floor 23. But
with large windows.
With huge windows. I mean, not
from
just
ceiling to floor.
Yeah, the whole wall was a window. It was beautiful, but the sirens at 2 in the morning go off, and we didn't know it was April 15th. It was the biggest attack on Kiev of the year, and so they were launching some 600 drones and 44 ballistic missiles.
We got ourselves into the hallway,
and
then we heard very large blasts that we thought
explosions.
I thought literally it was just a block or 2 away.
Yeah, well, if it were a block or 2 away,
we looked at each other and said,
But yeah, it's like we go, this is real. And then the guy came out of the apartment down the hall, and he goes, "We go down." And so you took cues from the rest. I think the whole time we were there were like 9 sirens that went off, and we would take cues from our neighbors. Are they going down, or are they staying here? They had inside information about where they were coming from, what was coming. Was it a missile? Was it the drones? And even when we back up to our room, 2 hours later, there was another one, and there were the drones were really wild.
Drones.
It's like a motorcycle flying by your window, you know. And so anyway, it was crazy.
And it's all the stuff that we had heard them talk about.
Yeah, and
the things that they live with daily.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I wanted to experience their world.
Yeah, we went there to experience what they were experiencing. We didn't quite count on it the first night, but it was, and they were so sweet. They were texting us, "This is missiles.
Go down below.
Go down." And then the missiles, it's all clear. The missiles are stopped. You're good to go back. And so anyway, we were down there with it was really sobering. We're down at the bottom of the building, and there's a woman there with her 2-year-old baby in a stroller. Her husband's probably either dead or off to war. There were others that were sitting there. There was one gal that was crying. You know, you could see they've been enduring this for 4 years. And we were just in and out in 5 days.
But I'm going to say God really did give us peace.
It was pretty amazing.
We really had his peace throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was in a sense, it felt like we were privileged to actually experience what they were
really
experiencing. They know now that we know
go through that
what they
daily, monthly.
Yeah, raids, and they just basically Russia just wants to keep them awake. And so anyway, that next morning I was supposed to go and teach in a class, and they told the students, "Hey, sleep in because you're awake all night." So, but they just go back to work as normal. That afternoon, classes were normal. The next day, life has not stopped. The city is actually...
It was remarkable. People they're still shopping. They're still on the road.
There were 2 malls right near us that all the shops were open all day long. None of them were closed up or boarded up.
On the streets.
Coffee shops open right after the bomb. It's crazy. So, but what was really amazing, okay, a couple things is before we came over, we decided to come, we sent out our prayer letter. And this gal named Sam, she's wonderful. She goes, "Oh, you need to meet my friends. They're in Kiev. They're missionaries. They actually stayed during the war. They're Americans from Oregon. You need to meet them." And so I wrote them and said, "Hey, we would love to catch up with you guys." Now, get this. One of our problems is we see students from this university and we see them make steps towards faith, but we've had no connection to really see them discipled on the other end. So we decided to meet with this couple in this huge city of 2.3 million. I don't know how many universities are there, tons, so many universities. And we go over to meet them and we find out, I said, so what are you guys doing? Well, we're actually doing English clubs at the university that you're staying at. And we're discipling people and running camps.
The university that the servant leadership program
has
completely got started.
They're there and they're following up students and working with students. So now we have, I mean, what are the odds of that kind of connection? And so then they introduced us to another couple that we went to church with. And this was fun. We went to church on Sunday and it was a Nazarene church. And we went to it and it was so fun because there was a guy that preached and he was a young man and they have a team leadership model, which was really cool. And afterwards I talked to him about his sermon because we had a translation going in real time. And I said, hey, would you like to meet up? So I got to meet with him for a prolonged period of time. Yeah. It was so fun.
And it was another couple
that took us there
took us to the Nazarene that's also still working with the university.
And like I say, running
connected with
summer evangelism.
They knew some of our students. They knew some of the teachers. Yeah. They knew Valentina.
And so while I was meeting with this pastor friend, Janie was meeting with a gal who'd come to our summer
academy in 2024.
Servant Leadership Academy 2 years ago.
She lived in our house for a week. And we had great conversations with her. She didn't seem to be very spiritually inclined at that time. She was 18, but this time was amazing. We had so many different things that we talked about with spiritual conversations and of course, my motherliness came in. I was trying to help her, with, how she relates to men. And it was such a wonderful time. And she really wants to stay connected. And God has just been so good to
and now we have a couple of women we can introduce her to that she will be able to talk to more about spiritual things, which is like crazy fun to see how much she's opened up to things of the gospel. And so we also got to be with Valentina quite a bit. She's this gal with her PhD. She's just a brilliant. Her English is better than mine. And we just got into some deep spiritual conversations with her. And then Maria has had to get another job. So she's left the university, but she still wants to be involved with CoServe. And we got to meet her husband who has his PhD and we went over to their home. That's the little girl. Mommy, don't they know what's going on here? I'm worried about them. Like she's worried about us. It's like, so anyway, in their apartment building, they were at fairly high too. And they had this pad that they just got. So when bombs start going off or drones, they go over and just sleep in the hall. The most important thing is to be away from the windows. But we really got to go into homes. We got to be with people. We got to make connections with the church. I got to this young pastor who had been preaching. He was it was fun. He was just so encouraged to be able to meet, and I was able to pray for him. He's praying for his dad. He's the only Christian in his family. So anyway,
and Kiev is just a beautiful city.
Yeah.
I can see why they want to defend their city. They're proud of their city. Yeah. They've worked hard to build it to the place that is just beautiful.
I couldn't believe what a nice city it was and how highly it's functioning.
We were thinking how much we really want to go back.
Yeah, we really do. And so we're looking, if the invite comes, and it certainly may, I also got to go in and do a couple, teach in the English department. We both did. And it was really fun to get to work with the students and just connect.
I just wrote on the chalkboard.
Well,
I'm the writer.
She's the Vanna White of the family, and the Vanna Wright. So anyway, it was really an amazing experience. And we just go back to, we got on the train. It was pretty wild too. The gal asked, "Hey, when are you planning to go back?" Well, we probably need to go down to the train station and see if we can get tickets. Well, let me do it for you right now. This was 5 days before we were scheduled to leave. And she goes, "Oh, I'm glad we went in right now. There's only like 2 seats or 2 beds left on the whole overnight train. There were no seats. It was like," and so she quickly bought them for us, like right then and there. And if we hadn't at that moment asked, we could have been
Stuck there for a
still
while.
stuck there. So, but we got out. We got in. It was really neat. On the way out, there's this older lady. She's living in Germany now, and she's jumped from the plane, what, 5,000 times? Was that 2,000 times?
5,000 times.
5,000 times she's parachuted.
Parachuted out.
10 times from 10,000 meters. That's jumping out of the plane at 33,000 feet, higher than Everest. So she's an older lady. She's probably was 70, which really isn't that much older.
Yeah.
But she was going, my heart, she was in that, we were doing through a translation, Google. She would say a sentence and show us what it said.
Yeah.
She goes, my mother's heart is going out because my son is on the front lines and I worry about him every night. And his name is Nicholas. So it was so neat on the train. I just got to put my hand over and just pray with her. And it just moved her. You could just see. And she was sharing stuff with us after that point. We had no communication except the phone in this translate. But it was beautiful, and just getting to pray with this woman who just is just humanity, so worried for her son, and to whom praying for her meant the world. So thank you for praying, for our connections, who we'd be with in our cars, who we'd get to meet. I mean, and the fact that these like only foreign couples that are staying there as missionaries, they had to fight to be able to stay. Their organization wanted them out. They're right there at our university working with our students. And some of the students have gotten a green light to come over, and they'll be a part of our summer Servant Leadership Academy. So pray for them as they're preparing to come. So
Thank you for your prayers.
We're having an amazing time here in Slovakia with these old friends. And
headed next to
Turkey and going overland all the way. Just trains, and more trains, which is fun. So anyway, thank you. Love you guys. Thank you for your prayers. Continue to pray as we go down, that we just be of encouragement and that God would continue to give us supernatural appointments. We'll tell you about more of those later. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.